We all know what happened on August 1st, 2021. Famous internet lolcow Chris Chan was arrested for incest charges, with him having a sexual relationship with his mother. The internet was shocked and appalled by this, as was I. Chris and Barb always seemed to have a close relationship, with Chris admitting that he and his mom would cuddle and spoon with one another, even before Bob's death in 2011. Chris and Barb always had a weird relationship with each other. Sure, a loving one, but also manipulative and evil one. Let's go back to the beginning, even before Chris. Barb was born on October 1st, 1941, making her 41 when giving birth to Chris. Barbara had relations with 5 men before meeting Bob. Only 3 have been named, so I'll be talking about only those 3. Barb first married a guy named Rand Coleman Yeats Sr. in 1961, but only 2 years later got a divorce. Right after the divorce, Barb gave birth to her first child, Cole Smithy, who is the biological son of Rand Coleman. But Barb, out of ignorance, told Cole that Rand was just a family friend, instead of his actual father. Cole never learned that Rand was his real father, until he hired a private detective many decades later. Jack Dale Smithy was the person Barb married after Rand, but we don't know too much about him, because he wasn't heard from again since 1964. Jerry Harmon was the person Barb married right after Jack, and Jerry was the person that allegedly was the one who repeatedly would abuse Cole. Cole said he got frequent beatings and got mentally manipulated and abused by both Barb and Jerry. We can see here that Barb is a troubled person. So many divorces and the amount of lies and alleged abuses she's dealt. She doesn't seem like the kind of person to be fit to be a mother. And that is especially true with the example of Christian Weston Chandler. From a very young age, Chris would be left home alone or left with an alleged abusive babysitter to keep watch of him, while Barb and her husband, and father of Chris, Bob, would go out drinking. They were both alcoholics and again were not fit to raise a child, especially with how old they were when giving birth to Chris. From this isolation, Chris would go days and even weeks without talking. This all culminated as a young toddler when Chris just stopped talking altogether. Barb would try to coax Chris into speaking again, with buying toys, but it never really worked out. This kind of parenting might have caused Chris to think that doing the bare minimum of what other people do normally will get him a prize or gift. In Chris's teenage and adult years, the mental abuse really started affecting Chris. Barb would often threaten suicide whenever Chris did something she didn't like. Chris would get mentally scarred from this mental torture. Examples of when Barb did this to Chris is when Chris came out as trans and when Chris tried to get Barb to clean the hoard of stuff she has. That is actually one of the reasons that made Chris's house catch on fire. But Barb wasn't like this all the time. She was also the loving mom. Some say too loving, but loving nonetheless. She would pamper Chris all throughout his life. She would pay girls at Chris's school to be friends with him. Chris didn't know this and thought he made the girls his friends by his own volition, growing his ego and disillusion to the social interactions. From this side of Barb is where the spooning and cuddling would happen. Maybe this would happen after Barb would threaten to kill herself to get what she wanted. The situation between Chris and Barb is more gray than black and white. Yes, what Chris did was unforgivable, but it was caused by years of abuse. It's been proven that people develop fetishes of things they were scared of as young kids. The brain makes it a fetish as a coping mechanism. Maybe Chris's brain developed to fear his mother, and as a coping mechanism, made him love her. I hope you liked this video. I made this to kind of show that Chris, yes, disgusting human being, should definitely be in prison, but it was also caused by his mother, Barb Chandler. And if you would like to see me do one on Bob Chandler, I don't know, get this to like, what's a good amount? That's good. If it gets to like 200 likes, I'll do one on Bob Chandler. How about that? Does that seem good? I think that seems good. Alright, see ya.